Alright, here's a GE model YRB, I believe it's 83-1, AA5 wooden tube radio from about 1948 or so, 47, 48, and mid to late 40s. And I picked this up. It was a good deal online. I think I only give like $6.99 for this radio, but it's a little on the rough side. As you can see, the cabinet's full of scratches and it's missing a knob. Hopefully we can find one of those. Some of this cosmetic stuff isn't as important to me as it is to some radio collectors and stuff, so but we'll try to get the proper knob for it if I can find one. And I'm not sure whether it's shipping damage or not, but there's a lot of loose pieces here on the cabinet, and some of they wrapped it up pretty good, but some of these little wooden wedges back here have come out, and I've got them. They were inside the radio when it came. And this cabinet's all loose and will need to be re-glued, but we can address that. But I'm gonna try to see if this thing works. I believe I should put this thing on a variac and bring it up real slowly and see what we get. Alright, let's bring this thing up slowly. We're at about 40 volts. Bring it up some more to about 60. Only drawing about 0.10 of an amp, so that ain't too bad. We got bulb illumination, a little bit of bulb illumination there. About 80 volts there. Hearing a little bit of static from the speaker, sounds like. Alright, we're up to about 90. Dial light's on. Still only drawing about 0.2 amps. That's upside down because I got that stupid power strip mounted upside down.
Come by her and stand when her tears started flowing.
It's working.
She had no doubt that in the throne room of heaven the secret was out.
It's about 90 volts.
An unspoken request. Does anybody have one here tonight? Did you come with a burden?
Still playing down at around 70 volts. We're only drawing about 0.15 amps, so that's not too bad. Alright, well I think we're safe. It's a transformer-less radio anyway. It's not like we're going to burn a transformer up. Sounds pretty good. Not too bad. Alright, let's get that off there before I get a copyright strike. Let's go ahead and pull the chassis and see what we're working with. I wanted to point out and note that I already see evidence of hacky repair work. And we got mix match screws just about everywhere holding this chassis in, so I'll have to see if I can come up with a matching set of chassis screws. Stuff like that just bugs me. Alright, here's the chassis. Just a typical mid to late 40s AA5 tube chassis. And it's pretty rusty looking. It looks like somebody might have stored this thing outside somewhere. The best of storage conditions. And at least GE was nice enough to have wiring speaker plugs on the speaker. Looks like we have a large domino capacitor back here on the antenna circuit. Anyway, it looks like we have the underside of the chassis here, along with some dead hornets inside the radio. Proof enough, again, that this set was most likely stored outside in a storage building or something. Looks like we have a lot of our original paper capacitors and a couple of replacement electrolytics, including what looks like a Sprague Atom TVA capacitor in here from probably looks like the 70s or 80s, and those were pretty good caps in their day, but we'll have to check it and see if it's any good. And I can already tell these capacitors are leaking and flat on the bottom with a big old hunk of wax, a flat hunk of wax on the bottom. Those will definitely have to go. And this solar mini cap here, 450 working volts, is a little overkill for this application. That's a 20 microfarad. But anyway, that's definitely a replacement and quite the overkill for this application, as I said. Alright, we have all of our capacitors replaced, and our 22k ohm resistor here. So I had to replace some that were out of tolerance. A 470k over here in the audio circuit, 2.7k there. That was this big honking 1 watt resistor, and those things have gotten a lot smaller over the years. The audio circuit had a little bit of distortion in it, and because of this filter capacitor here, one of these filter caps, I guess somebody had changed prior, and whoever put this in didn't take it out of the circuit. So as soon as I took that out, the audio cleared right up, and I noticed, you know, it was hooked to this audio output tube, and I noticed, looked on the schematic, and I didn't see that cap anywhere listed in the schematic, as it should have been there. And I saw it there myself and was kind of puzzled why it was there, and the only thing I can figure is somebody changed the filter cap sometime in the past and just never took it out of the circuit. That was a common practice back in the day. A lot of people would leave the old cap in line, which is a bad idea. So anyway, that's out of there, and it was the wrong value anyway. The original value of filter caps that goes in this thing is supposed to be 230 microfarad capacitors, and somebody put this in here, which is 250s, and I checked it and it checks fine, so I'm just going to leave it in place. I don't see there being a problem with running 250s for a filter cap. Plenty of sets use that value, so we'll leave it as is. Okay, so off camera, as far as the cabinet goes, off camera, I basically what happened was is some of these joints that hold this together have come unglued over the years, and these wooden wedges here that go in the corner, as you can see, there's two different ones on that top part, and this one only has one because one fell out. A lot of those other ones are long gone. But what I've done was I put all the wedges that I had, that I got with the radio that were inside, I put those back in place. And so what I did was I undid these joints and took this thing apart and put a new bead of wood glue in there, and we put a couple of these wood clamps on it, and held it in place overnight, and it has dried. And what was happening was this front panel here, where it goes into the top and the side here, had come loose and was moving around. And since the wood glue is dried, it's helped and stabilized it. I put wood glue under these to help support it. I need to see if I can find a little tiny block of wood or something, even a square piece, to go up in the corner there and just re-glue, you know, to take the same load as the one that's supposed to be here that's missing. You can see where it had broke out and wasn't included with the radio, probably fell out years ago. We actually have 3 of these that are missing, one in this corner, that one over there that I just said, and one down here at the bottom. But you know, for the most part it should hold together. This side here seemed to be really tight, so not too worried about that, but the opposite side was really loose. So as I said before, I glued that back together and put some wood clamps. I put this one back in, it had came loose, and put some clamps to hold it like that. Like I said, it's dried overnight, so I guess I'm gonna try to tackle some of the finish on this cabinet. It looks pretty bad. I usually don't get into restoring chassis or cabinets too much. As you seen on a prior video, I had an older GE from the 30s that I redid the cabinet on, and you know, I'm here to tell you I'm not a professional woodworker or anything like that, so I don't get into this too much. But a lot of times when these radios get pretty bad off, I'll go ahead and try to refinish them. I like to try to keep the original finish as much as possible, but there is a point to where it's, you know, probably best to go ahead and put a new finish on it. And in my opinion, when they get this bad off, the finish, that's not really very desirable to anybody. So, you know, and I paid $6.99 for this radio, so what have I got to lose? You know what I mean? So anyway, we got the electronics working properly, so I figure we'll go ahead and do this. I took the dial scale out and cleaned it. It was pretty dirty, so we'll have that to put back in when we get done with the stripping and refinishing of this thing. It's going to be a lot of sanding to this. There's a lot of scratches in this thing. Obviously, the bottom, I won't do anything to these labels. I may remark the model number. The 80 The 3 got scratched off of the model number here, and it's obviously missing, so I may make a note of the model number somewhere on the bottom here. Make it a little easier for somebody else later on down the road. And also, looks like this radio spent some time in California. I'm sure that was put on it early in its life at some point. As you can tell, the phone number probably back in the late 40s or early 50s. I'm sure that was put on there. It might have been bought from there brand new, not really sure. Okay, I just want to point out some of these old markings that are on this. I don't know if it's going to be easy to read or not, but 12SA7 GT and a 35Z5, which is a rectifier. 5.1 of what looks like to be 1949 right here. Just wanted to point out some of these markings. Always try to leave these, and you know, if I'm redoing something, I always try to leave these so it leaves the historical value of the radio, some information. And not exactly sure what this reads here. It's kind of rusted over a little bit. As you may remember, we need to get some more screws for the chassis because they had just a mix match variety of screws holding the thing in, and it was flip-flopping around and all that too. Alright, and here we are back in the cabinet with the cabinet redone, refinished. I have kind of mixed feelings about how this turned out, but it looks a whole lot better than it did. So this one's going to be in my personal collection anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. You know, I'm not one of these purists, so anyway, I just don't want something looking like it's ready for the dump sitting up on my counter. So anyway, it plays pretty good. I'm gonna need to cut this light off because it interferes. I'm gonna hook the wire to it. I already had the wire hooked to it. Had a weak 12SA7 tube for it, so I had to put in an order for one of those. It was a whopping $3. I always have the crappiest music on AM half the time.
And just going to get 25,938 and get 0% interest on these and other models. Plus,
now the DX isn't rolling right now because it's still the middle of the day, so it's late in the evening actually, but it's, or late in the day I should say. It's not time for DX to come in.
your kids' education.
Alright, so there's my 1948 GE YRB 83-1 radio playing again. I need a knob, so you know anybody getting rid of one, or you know somebody who's got one, or you got one, let me know. Thanks for watching.